Good evening, everyone. Last Saturday, we did an event to help raise money for kids. And us, as a business, we made a diamond pendant. And that was all lovely jubbly. And making the pendant, which was done by buying a ticket, as this is here. That's us. So we produced the tickets, actually the Snap charity produced the tickets. They were sold at £35 a ticket to accumulate money into the raffle. With other people doing their bit, renting out their Airbnb properties that they might have in Spain and other little bits and pieces. I don't actually know what everybody else did, but all I do know is on the night we raised £51,000. So I'm pleased for the charity, really pleased, it's really good. But now it leads me on to something else. I've made a product that could be quite good for the cars. I won't tell you what it is yet, but it's underway. Okay, that's all I'm going to tell you. But I'm going to be looking for a bit of feedback. When these Escorts were made, as we all know, in the day, they was a budget product. We all know that, and we're all fully aware of it. And when we're restoring our cars, as I am, and you're trying to make good and you're trying to make it last and everything else that we're trying to do, you come across things that were made that really could have been better. And we all know this. The poor quality, in some ways, I actually find really sweet. And you're trying to restore a product that some of it was so cheaply made, if that's a way of describing it, made on a budget to keep the price down. And Ford and all these big businesses, they're very successful, they're very clever, because they know how to do things and make it work and make it as a business product, obviously. But sometimes some of it was not that good at all, and your 55 years old car that we're trying to restore now, you're trying to restore something that sometimes you're struggling with. Yet we get through it and we'll make the best we can, but some of it is a battle. So this now leads me on to, I can't tell you too much at this stage because I've got a little bit more, let's just say, finishing to do. But I've made a part for the cars, and when they're done, I want to sell them and earn money out of them. But I don't want the money. I want these to be made in such a way that if they're sellable, wanted, whatever way you want to look at it, if these parts I sell for £100 each, and we make, let's just say for argument's sake, we can make £10 per item. It's for whoever takes this on, that money must be paid to a charity. Now, we don't quite know how to do it because I'm not really in this part of business as such. I'm a jeweller. All of you know that. Most of you know this, that I'm a jeweller. If any of you want anything made, you come to me, I'll make it for you. I'll do the best I can and everything else. I earn my living by sitting at the bench as a labourer does. I'm no different to a bloke that digs holes in the road. We're all the same. He digs holes, I make jewellery. But when it comes to something like this, producing the product and then finding someone to sell it for us, that's where I'm going to maybe go a little bit wobbly. So it's where I go with this. Do I give the sole right to a business, like a firm that sells Escort products, we all know there's a good few of them out there. I won't say any names because we don't need to say any names. Or do I sell this product that I'm making through me only? So if I sell this product and they're sold for £100, you just pay the money direct to the charity that I raise money for. That's how it would work. Or, this is the difficult bit, if I was to give it to a big business like Halfords, it wouldn't be Halfords. I'm just using that as a example. But if I was to give it to Halfords, Halfords have got many more customers than me. Much more people they know more than me, than I'll ever know. Could the product sell through a bigger motorsport supplying firm or an Escort classic car selling firm? I don't know. But now the big question, and it is a big one. I've noticed things that when you're working on your car and you are assembling bits and pieces on the car, as I am, you'll find things along the way. Right, bear with me. I've just finished training half hour ago and I'm in absolute bits. Right, for example, you look at your leaf springs. Mine here are dead vertical. But when you buy these guide clamps, I've never bought one yet that lines up in there and in there. I need to be educated maybe, but nearly every single U-bolt you ever see, they're always tipping in. Well, that's right, but I don't like it. I just think, why can't it be? Or is there a reason behind it? I don't know. I don't think there is a reason behind it. But anyway, the point I'm making is that, bear with me. I want to make these. And I think I can produce them so that the U-bolts would go onto the axle correct vertically wise. Not this where the U-bolt comes up and it's at that angle. I want to have them there. Is there any mileage in it? I don't know. There's so many things that we could improve all the time. Like this product that I've made here that I'm not telling you about at the moment. But now I'm asking a really big question. And it's a scary question for me. If I was to produce certain items for our Escorts, whether it's a 1300L, a 1300 Sport, a GT, a Mexico, an RS2000, an RS1600 BDA, whatever. Would there be any mileage in the parts that I could make and produce? That's the big question. I'm not doing this to replace the living that I've got. I'm doing this because I enjoy what I'm doing. And when I see things and I just think, can this be improved? I do make it. But I've only ever done it for my own cars. I haven't done it to impress anyone. I'm not into that. I do it for me. I do it for interest on these cars and the goodwill of the cars. But I think sometimes there's bits that I could make. Oh, it's a really hard thing to say. But I do know I can improve on certain things. Now the question. Would you buy a Russell Lord product? I've had this on my mind for about 2.5 years, and it's taken me a long time to build up the courage just to ask the question. Because I genuinely don't know whether there's any mileage in it. Now, I know to produce a product, it's a real cutthroat business now in anything that you do. So if I was to produce lowering blocks under the axle, There's so many people that already do them. You're going to be fighting over pennies. So the only way that I could produce a block, which I wouldn't because there's no point in me doing it because they've been around for years. But it's all the little bits and pieces, it's the aggravating bits and pieces. And I look at them sometimes, I just think, why did Ford do this? Well, we know why we did it because we've already spoken about that. And I've made my statement of how these things are done. But there are bits that could be improved. But is there any mileage in it? I'm not doing this for me. I'm making this clear. This is all to help raise money for my charity fund that I try my best for, SNAP. I have people come around this garage. I'm not going to say names because I don't want to embarrass them. And when they come round and they look at my cars and they're looking at this and they're looking at that and everything else, I help them, they help me. It's a two-way street. I've just had my mate Dave round tonight who's giving me he's giving me these because I'm going to be fitting the shock absorber mount in a bit later on. So Dave comes round, people like him, and not with Dave tonight, not this particular night, but if, say for argument's sake, my other mate Peter comes round, Peter came round a little while ago, and he wanted a pair of shock absorbers. So I've got a pair. I said, how much are they? So I said, 200 quid. He said, okay, I'll have them. He said, how do you want to be paid? Put it in there. He gives me 200 quid for the shock absorbers. He put the £200 in the pot. I do work in the shop, and if a nurse comes in and the nurse wants something repaired, if it's like a chain repair or it's a watch repair or something like that, I sometimes ask people what they do for a living because it's not being nosy, I'm just trying to find out what we're doing. It's part of conversation in the day. So you ask what they do. Oh, I'm a nurse. Yeah, well, I ain't charging a nurse. No way. But please, you lot, don't think I'm big time Charlie Bananas, because I tell you what, I ain't. And you wouldn't want to swap your bank account for mine right now, trust me. But I do my bit for the nurses because they're the ones that look after us. Any nurse, any paramedic, doctor, despite what people might have with them, issues or whatever, no one's infallible. But if we ain't got them, we're in trouble. So I look after them. But then sometimes they're too proud. How much your chain repair? 20 quid. Oh, I must pay you. Well, I'll tell you what then. Put something in the box. So I put something in the box. They put something in the box. Great. Now, how about this? That there is about £2,200 out of my box. And that is on its way to SNAP next week. From chain repairs, watch batteries, repairing a ring, putting a stone back in, whatever it is, maybe selling a few parts. So we're doing our bit. Now, I'm not going to digress too much because I don't want to. But is there any mileage? Would you buy a Russell Lord product? I'm scared for the reaction that I'm going to get on this tonight because it's a big ask. And unfortunately, I do take things sometimes personal. And the reason why I take it personal is because I give it my all. This ain't just a crash out thing that I do. If you know me and you know how I make a piece of jewellery, or you know how I do anything with my job, and then come to the cars, you know I don't rush anything out. But it's still a big question. I'm scared for the answers. I'm scared for the comments. But let's see what sort of feedback I can get. Good evening.